All right, so A, B, E, and F are midpoints of segment XC, XD, YC, and YD. I'm assuming they're, they're respectively there. But first of all, this says if AB is K, so if this is K, then what's CD and what's FE? So remember, these are mid segments here, without, you can do all the congruent statements here, or the tick marks. Right? And so this is the mid segment here, and so that means that CD is going to be double what AB is, right? So this will be 2K. And EF is a mid segment here, so that means it's going to be half of CD. So that means we cut 2K in half and we get back to K. So even though these are different triangles, at least they're not necessarily the same, and they do look different. The mid segments are the same, right? So the next one, CD is equal to 8x. So this is equal to 8x. And AB is 3x plus 2. And it says find x, right? So we know that AB is half of CX, right? So we can do it a couple different ways. We can use our formula. We can say 3x plus 2 equals half of 8x, right? Or half of CD, right? So AB is 1/2 of CD. Okay. Or the other way we could do this, we could say double AB equals regular CD, right? So that's the other way we can do it. We can actually write this as 2 times 3x plus 2 equals 8x, right? So either way is fine, and you'll get the right answer either way, right? In fact, one way we can get rid of this fraction is by multiplying both sides by 2, in which we'd get that, right? So I'm not gonna multiply both sides by 2 because 1/2 of 8 comes out pretty nicely. So I'll just keep it like that. Then I'm gonna subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, and we get 2 equals 1x, or x equals 2. So that's our answer. All right, so here we have another situation with some midpoints, and so that means that these are all mid segments, right? And so that means that this is going to be congruent to this, right? Each of those, right, will be 7. The whole thing is 14. These will be 8, right? Because this is half of this, right? So each of those segments are going to be 8. And then, of course, these ones are going to be 5 here, as LM is 5, and it's half of TO. All right. And so all the triangles that are congruent to T and L. So T and L here. So it'll be NOM, right? Triangle NOM. Triangle LMK, right? Those are all oriented the same way, so we can kind of go in the same order. But this one in the middle is not oriented the same way. So let's see, T comes first, and so it's with the 2 and the 3 tick marks. So the 2 and the 3, that's M. And then the middle one, TN. So N is with 1 and 3. So 1 and 3 in this triangle is L, right? L is with the 1 tick mark and the 3. So it'll be ML. And then, of course, process of elimination will be N. All right. So next question. Suppose you're told the area of triangle NLM, this triangle in the middle, is 7.32 square centimeters. What's the total area of TKO? So remember before, the perimeter ended up being double what that inner triangle was, right? And remember, that's because all the sides are half. The sides of the inner triangle are half the sides of the larger triangle, right? And so that's the same situation here, where like this is 16, right? This is 14, this is 10, and those are all double what this is. So you might think that the area is double, right? But remember that area uses square units, square measurements, right? Area is a two-dimensional measurement. And so we're not just doubling it, we're doubling it to the second power, right? So what it'll be is the height will be doubled and the base will be doubled. So when you do your formula, instead of 1/2 base times height, which would have been the original, now we're doing 1/2 times 2 times double the base times double the height, right? And so if you multiply those together, you get a factor of not just 2, but 2 squared, right? 2 times 2 is 4. So it'll actually be 4 times 1/2 base times height, right? So if we multiply this by 4, that'll give us our total area, which comes out to 69.28. All right, I just want to set this one up just because we're running low on time here. But if you have one like this, and we know that this is a mid segment, right? It says a segment that joins the midpoints of two sides. And so that means this is a mid segment. And so that means this is congruent with this, right? And so we can set those equal to one another, right? 4y plus 2 equals 7 times the quantity of y minus 1, right? And we can distribute the 7 and get the y's on one side, numbers on the other, etc., right? So then here, we know that this is half of this, right? So we can do a couple different ways. We can double this and set it equal to this, or we can do half of this and set it equal to this, right? So either way works. So you can either say 3x plus 5 equals half 12x minus 8, or you can say that double 3x plus 5 equals regular 12x minus 8, okay? So this way, might be a little better sometimes if you don't have even numbers in there, then you'd end up with fractions, but either way is fine. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Let me know if you have any questions. Keep working hard, and I will see you in class virtually.